Thank you, John, for the introduction. So my name is Frederick Bussler. I'm the CEO of bitgrit. I'll just be giving a short presentation about who we are and what we do. So first, I'm going to talk about some of the problems in the AI space that we hope to prevent and some of the main concerns we're looking at. So one problem is that when most people think about AI, the emotions that come up are concern and skepticism. I think that's especially true in Japan, although this study wasn't done in Japan. When you talk about AI here, a lot of people don't really know that much about it, and a lot of people kind of think about AI and robotics as the same thing, although a lot of times they have nothing to do with each other. So there are, of course, a lot of other companies who are hoping to combat the concern and skepticism in AI, huge companies. One is Google. They have a program called DeepMind, and in their ethical charter, they say that a technology like AI should be shaped by and accountable to all of society. That's something we believe in as well. If you look at OpenAI, which was started by Elon Musk, he says that in their charter they commit to avoid enabling uses of AI that unduly concentrate power. Of course, that's something we believe in as well. However, the problem is that companies don't always stick to their ethical charters. This is seen as DeepMind has actually never revealed who's on their ethics board, so we don't actually know who's saying that. And OpenAI, which started as OpenAI, is now basically closed AI. They've restructured as a for-profit company, and they're no longer open sourcing their algorithms. And then, of course, we can look at the scandals like biased AI hiring systems, biased facial recognition systems, or the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal where user data was used to manipulate a democratic election. So looking on kind of the bright side for why we want to enter the AI space, it's growing at a massive field. All the world's biggest companies are involved and investing in it. And what kind of how we name our mission and how we're trying to combat the problems I mentioned and take advantage of the growth of AI is what we call democratic AI. So what we mean by democratic AI is basically an open ecosystem connecting three parties: data scientists, data providers, and companies. So that comes down to two products: a data scientist network, which is mostly built out, and an AI marketplace. The data scientist network is largely educational. It's things like a forum, a job board, and competitions that we've already created, as well as an AI marketplace, which is part of the longer-term vision. So in each of these products, we're taking advantage of a few main trends in the industry. One of these trends is that AI solutions are becoming a lot cheaper, a lot easier to do nowadays with the availability of data and cheaper computational power. Another advantage is that data science communities are becoming mainstream. We've built a community of over 4,000 data scientists around the world, predominantly in India, but in many other countries as well. Also, if we look at the underlying technologies of AI and blockchain, they've reached a certain point of technological maturity. While just a few years ago, blockchain was, people didn't really know that much about it. There was the whole ICO hype. A lot of what's happening now in blockchain is really focused on technical development. And with AI, it's really moving from hype to application as well. So how the product works is very straightforward. If you've heard of Kaggle, it's somewhat similar to that, in that we provide AI solutions through a community. A client submits an AI problem statement, and then our talent network collaborates to create a solution. Once that solution is created, we put it in the cloud behind an API call, which just means that any company can access an AI solution at any time. When they pay for that AI solution, the data scientists who initially created it are compensated, which means a data scientist can create a model today, and 10 years from now keep getting payment when it's used. So in order to kind of understand who our community is, we sent out a skill sheet analysis to some of our members, and our response rate was about 2,130 data scientists, which is just a segment of our community who's open to working on solving AI problems. So we've done, I think, a pretty good job at creating a community that's really focused on data science and AI. The top skill sets in the community are data science, data analytics, and machine learning. And if we look at the kind of the biggest technologies used in it, they're very good at Python. You'll see in all the different skills, ranked from 1 to 10, there's a lot of ones as well, and that's students. Our community is open to students as well as experts. In terms of different AI models, they're experiencing cluster analysis, time series analysis, and technologies like anomaly detection as well. If we want to look more closely at their skills, they're very skilled in things very related to data science, like Python and libraries like pandas. And then they have a lot of kind of variety of expertise, a lot of students, as well as people with several years of experience in the field. So our revenue model is pretty straightforward. We assess a client fee on solved AI problem statements. So if we attempt an AI solution that we don't have the expertise in the network for, then the company doesn't have to pay anything. So it's pretty straightforward. To just give a quick overview of our team, we incorporated in November 2017 in Japan. We now have offices in India and Estonia as well. We have 2 Japanese co-founders. I'm the CEO. We have a director in India as well. And our COO is here as well as several members of the bitgrit team. We have experience in a lot of different verticals, which I think is useful for a platform like this, because we don't want the AI marketplace to only provide solutions in a specific niche. We want it to be able to provide solutions to a lot of different fields, so we have the expertise within our own team in those different fields. So I just want to talk a bit about kind of the stages a company is in on a path to AI. So a lot of companies come to us looking for an AI solution, but there's a lot of things you have to do before you're ready at a company level for AI. The first thing you need to do is data acquisition. You need a lot of high quality data for an AI model to be able to even run on your data. So that's the first step. That's things like just logging your data, that's instrumentation. The next step above that is data engineering. So in the real world, data is extremely messy. I remember doing like data science problem statements in university, and you're given usually a clean CSV data set, but that's never the way it works in the real world. So you have to do data engineering to clean that data and then put it into pipelines, create the data flow. The next step is data analytics, which is still not at AI yet. That is manually looking for insights in data. It's looking at the data and seeing what value you can get out of it. Once you've done those 3 basic things, then a company is ready for AI. So for anyone interested in AI and any company interested in AI, there's a few steps you want to go through first. So the first step is to come up with an idea. And you do that after you've already found out that you're at a stage where you're ready for AI. And that's after you've done the data acquisition, the data engineering, and so on. Once you've come up with an idea, you have to evaluate it. So a lot of times you'll see use cases in industry in AI where you might ask, why are they using AI? And that's part of what you should be asking before you go out and put in the effort for a solution. And then the next step is prototype. That kind of follows the startup model, which is you create a quick solution, a cheap solution first, before you try to create a complete solution. And then you iterate on that cheap, easy solution. So I hope this is something you can, a simple model you can use to evaluate if AI could be a solution and what you're interested in. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, our project name is Matrix. So my presentation will be 3 parts. The first one is Matrix 1.0. This is what we are doing now. And then the second part is the Matrix 2.0. That is what our work in the future. And then the last one is the the primary object industry we will do in the next step. Okay, let's start it. This is the first part, Matrix 1.0. What is Matrix? Matrix is an open source public chain, which is based on the AI, artificial intelligence technology. So we call it an AI-enabled blockchain. Everyone should know that in these years, the blockchain is one of the most popular technologies all over the world. But let's check all the blockchain technologies. We found there was lots of the problems we need to solve. For example, the first one is the slow transactions. In Bitcoin, each transaction needed to be confirmed in about the average confirmed time is 43 minutes. It means if I want to use the Bitcoin as my euro payment way, so when I go to one supermarket, I need to wait about 43 minutes after I check out. That's so everyone is talking about cryptocurrency, but it won't be a real currency as this slow transaction. So we have used the AI technologies to build a new consensus. We call it hybrid POW. In this consensus, we have greatly improved the performance of the blockchains. Our maximum TPS can achieve 12,499. That's the best record all over the world. In this TPS, the cryptocurrency really can be currency, not just digital assets. The second problem is hard to program. Everyone should know that there are lots of the public chains, such as the Ethereum. Yeah, now most famous public chain is the Ethereum, and the key function of Ethereum is the smart contract. But in fact, the smart contract isn't smart at all, because if you don't know how to program, you can't use the smart contract. We have done a survey. In all over the world, there are only 20 million people who can do the program, but only 20,000 people in this can write the language in the Ethereum to write the smart contract. So that limits the users of the blockchains also to be a limit to make the blockchains to be used in our lives. So we designed a new contract named the intelligent contract that's based on the AI technologies. So with the intelligent contract, you don't need to do the program anymore. You just need to write down or speak out what you want or what you need by natural languages, maybe in English or in Japanese. The machine will do the programming instead of you. That means in the world there are 7 billion people who can speak or write. So everyone can use the blockchain. Everyone can use the intelligent contract. The third one is lack of the security. In 2016, there's where famous attack to Ethereum, the DAO attack. This bug is the investors lose almost $60 million US. So in the future, everyone will use the blockchains. Also, I think most of us will own some digital assets or the cryptocurrency. So the security must be very important to everyone. If we can't solve the security problems, the assets we can't call it assets, because we won't know our asset will belong to whom tomorrow. So we use the format verification technologies and also the generator against network to solve this problem, to keep our code, our contract, also our assets to be really safe. And the last one is the wasteful of the resource and the computing power. All over the world, there are about 70% of the computing power is doing the Bitcoin mining. Yeah, that's a really big waste. Also the electricity resource, also the computing power. The computing power of the Bitcoin mining is about 1 million times of the Google owns. So we want to use the AI technology to solve this problem. So based on the AI technologies, we build a new blockchain platform, which is faster, easier, safer, and more public welfare. This is Matrix, the POW consensus. We just said we want to solve the computing with also the resource waste for the mining. So in Matrix POW, not all the nodes will do the proof of work. In each circle, we will use a random selected algorithm to select 32 nodes to do the proof of work. And then at first, our algorithm of the proof work is an AI algorithm. So the results of the proof work can do really benefit to the social and the public. In another hand, during the POW circle, the nodes who hasn't been selected to do the POW, their computing power could do other good things, such as the deep learning training or something else. This is Matrix POW consensus. And another way, we also use the deepose consensus in our system because we want to use this to solve to improve our blockchain's performance to make the matrix chains have a real high TPS. Everyone should know EOS. EOS is one of the most famous deepose chain all over the world. But in fact, we don't think the EOS is a real decentralized chain because in EOS deepose consensus, all the supernodes was selected by the community. So when I was, for example, if I am a supernode, I will know the other 20 supernodes who will work with with me. That means if I want to connect other nodes, if I can organize more than 14 nodes, at the same time, we can roll all the wealth and the assets or the money of all the users. If the EOS price is higher, the more people who will use EOS, the more dangerous the EOS will be. But that means EOS want to improve EOS for performance, but it has sacrificed the security. By this way, the max TPS of the EOS is only 4,000. We want to change this situation. So we want to make the blockchains has a high performance, also real security. That's why we use the random clustering algorithm. So in Matrix, our supernode was selected by a random AI algorithm. So I won't know in next circle I will be selected or not. Also, I won't know which nodes will be selected with me at the same time. So we can't organize the other nodes to do the bad things. Also, yeah, we have kept our work to be a real decentralized network and to make it security. At the same time, we keep our net had achieved real good performance. Our max TPS is 12,499. That's the best record all over the world in all the public chains. The first version of the Matrix has launched. We already have more than 1,000 nodes to work in our network. And you can see our real TPS in our network. We have achieved over 10,000 TPS. Yeah, this is the Matrix 1.0. We use the artificial intelligence technologies to improve all the performance of blockchains and build a real safe and faster blockchain. So that is what we have done. But in the future, we want to make the matrix have a more great improvement. So in the first stage, we use the artificial intelligence to make the blockchain better. And then in the second stage, we want to use the blockchains to manage our AI system. We want to build an AI platform based on the blockchain. That's the AI Matrix 2.0 artificial intelligence matrix. Let me talk how to use the blockchain to make AI better. This is the three keys of artificial intelligence. Everyone should know the first one is data. Data is the software base of the artificial intelligence. If you want to train any models, any algorithms, you need to use lots of the data. But till now, we have lots of problems in the data industry. The first one is big data is a very popular industry all in the past years. But there are lots of the big data companies such as the Google, the Facebook, the Amazon. Yeah, but each of this company, they only have, we call it one dimension big data. For example, the Google only has their users, the data in how their users use Google to do the search or something else. The Facebook only has the data about their users how to use the Facebook. Yeah, so in these situations, all of the big data companies, like they are something like some lots of the islands. We can't swim from these islands to another one. We can't share the data with others because if for example, I'm Amazon. If I share my data with the Facebook, the Facebook will has all of my data. Yeah, so the data privacy will be a big problem. Also, but in another way, I'm a single user. I have all of the data of mine. We call it single dimension small data, multi-dimension small data, because I have all of the data of mine. I have my data in Facebook, I have my data in Google, I have my data in Mixi or something else. So we want to create a platform that we named it multi-dimension big data. Means we want to create a platform that everyone can share data, all kinds of the data to this platform. In this situation, if we have this kind and this number of data, we can create lots of the best models of the AI that really can make the AI have a good progress. And the second part is the computing power. Computing power is the hardware basic of the AI, because all the models training and all the models running, we need the computing power support. But we also have lots of the limits. For example, we want to the AI technologies can serve all the industry and all the companies. But if you are small companies, you can't afford the big cost of the AI. For example, we used to run lots of the international AI games in the past years. In 2017, we joined a game named Pascal, and we won champion. In that game, we spent almost $500,000 to do our model training. That's a big cost. A small companies can't afford this big cost. That's a big limit for the AI technologies progress. Also, the last part is the algorithms and the models, because if you want to use the AI technologies, you are use the algorithms or the models. all the applications based on the algorithms and the models. So we want to use the blockchain technologies to solve all of these problems. We want to build a new AI platform which can make the AI has a great progress. That's we call it Matrix 2.5, artificial intelligence matrix. At first, in the matrix, the first version of the matrix, we already has built and decentralized AI computing power network. All the machines in our network can can run their, can output their computing power for the users who need the AI computing power. And in the future, we want to build a data access chain. That means if you are a user, if you upload your data to these chains, the blockchains will confirm the right of you. You own the data. You are the data owner. Anyone who wants to use your data, they need to pay you. Yeah, if I'm a data scientist, I want to use John's data to train a model, I need to pay John. Also, if my models will be used many times in the future, is a successful model, the revenue in the future will also shares. The John will also get shares with the model revenue. Yeah, we have used the decentralized storage technologies that keep the user's data really safe. Anyone who wants to use their data to train models, they can't copy their data. Yeah, that's we made the first we made a data access chain. Also, we will build an AI model market. For example, we have a good cooperation with the bitgrit. In the future, bitgrit can use our data chains data to train their model. Also, they can put their models into the AI model market. Anyone, developers or the users who want to use bitgrit model, they need to pay to bitgrit. So we use the blockchain technologies to build a new platform which we want to support the AI technologies to have a big progress in the future. This is the Matrix 2.5. This is what we are going to do in the near future. So till now, in the future, there will be lots of kinds of the applications which can be run on the Matrix network, such as in our platform, you can simulate the chemical reactions, the video analysis, the medical analysis, the financial modeling, all kinds of AI applications can be built in or can be supported in the Matrix. You can use Matrix computing power to train your model, or you also can use the data in our data chains to train your model. Also, you can share your data to these data chains and earn lots of the benefits in the future. This is what we want to do in the near future. Also, we can't do all the industry in the very beginning. We need to select one or two special targets. So let me share our primary objective industry for the Matrix 2.0. This picture is the left one. Is the market of the AI industry in last year. The biggest one is the financial. We use the AI to do the trading. This is the biggest one. The second one is the image targeting. And then the third one is the medical technologies. There already has lots of the company do lots of the great jobs in the three industry. So the fourth one is the predictive maintenance industry. We also can see these pictures. In this chart, we can see in this industry the average increase rate is about 39%, and also in 2018, the total annual cost of the machine failures amount is about 600 billion. That's a huge market. Also, as McKinsey's forecast, AI technologies can potentially save 600 billion for this industry per year. So this is the first reason why we choose this industry, because it's really a big market. And the second reason is we have our AI team's AI team's abilities very suitable for this industry. This is our research focus. Our team is very good in the data-driven knowledge discovery and machine learning. Also, the self-supervised predictive online learning. Also, the small samples learning with the GANs. GANs means the generated against network. Also, the deep learning technologies for image and time and series data. Our deep learning for image is very good all over the world. We have won 3 champions of the world artificial intelligence games in the past 2 years. We beat lots of the teams such as the Googles and the Facebooks. Yeah, we have very strong ability in this industry. Also, based on these technologies, we have some 4 focus applications. The first one is smart sensing, and for technologies, failure predictions, and optimized decision. This is our flow for this industry. This is our AI processing flow. At first, we use the smart sensing to get the data, and we use the data technologies. And at the third step, we use the data-driven predictions. And in the first step, we remain in useful life estimation and do the operation and management decision. For example, this is one application. This is the smart technologies. We are using in this technologies, the basic the main technologies is graph model-based management of the equipment, domain knowledges. We already has been used in lots of the areas. The first one, for example, the Kenya Gauge Railways, one of the first countries where China helped them to build their high-speed railways. Our AI security protection system already have to keep this railway to running normally for 3 years. That is a big achievement. The second one is early warning. Early warning means we will use the artificial intelligence technologies to announce the data of the equipments, which we can forecast when the equipment will fail or have some problems. This picture shows how our system works. And this technology also has lots of the used cases. The first one is the Shanghai subway. Shanghai subway already has installed this system. Last year there was a big accident of the Shanghai subways. So in our system, we have successfully forecast this accident. in our system. And after that, this subway really has an accident. Yeah, also, we have some contract with the Cherry Autocars, which is one of the biggest autocar manual company in China. We will do the early warning system for their battery. Everyone should know recently they had lots of the battery accident. So that's what the Matrix will going to do. So at first stage, we are using the AI to improve the AI to improve the blockchain, and in the second stage, we want to, based on the blockchains, to build a more powerful AI platform. So we hope to use Matrix to do more benefits to the public and all over the world. Okay, thank you.
My name is Koshizuka from University of Tokyo. But today, I'd like to make my speech in Japanese. Because today, I would like to talk about mainly the artificial intelligence, AI, and data. But I think I'm a computer scientist, but today's talk is, I think, more than computer science. Very, very conceptual things, or essential things. And also including the many things out of the computer science. So it is very difficult for me to speak in Japanese such a conceptual thing. So I'd like to talk today, but I would like to talk in Japanese. And I think most audience is Japanese, so today I'd like Japanese. ということで、日本語でちょっと、今日は、話させていただきたいと思います。それで、今日は、少し AI とデータっていうことで話をしたいんですけれども、AI に関して、今国内でも日本の中でも非常に、もちろんもう今更言うまでもないですけども、非常に話題になっているというか、非常に重要ですね。ただ見ていてちょっと AI って僕は世の中で言われているよりももっと実は重要で、もっと本質的に重要なポイントがあると思っていて、逆にちょっと AI が盛り上がっていてなんかバズワードになって盛り上がりすぎだよっていうこともあるんですけど、ビジネスの方だとちょっとそういう感じはするんですけど、ただもっともっと本当に重要なことがあるっていうことが一番言いたくてですね。で、あとそれとデータっていうことと AI っていうことがものすごく結びついているので、そういった話を少し30分ぐらい、したいと思っています。で、スライドの方は英語で作ってきているので、英語になります。で、若干ちょっと英語だと日本人だとちょっと僕ですらちょっと辞書で聞かないと分かんないのが難しい言葉も出てくるんで、それは日本語も実はちょっと書いてあります。それで、最初トピック5つぐらいあるんですけども、最初ちょっとイントロダクションということで、今はもう AI がなければ今後日本の世界もなかなか生活成り立たないって言われるし、またもちろんデータってことでも、非常に重要ですね。で、最近ハラリさんなんか、アメリカのハラリさんあれですね、歴史学者のハラリさんなんかはデータイズムなんていう言葉が喋るようになって、データなんか宗教のようになるぐらい、データ重要、同じように AI も重要なわけです。それでちょっと本当に基本的なところに立ち返りたいんですけれども、なんで私たちはデータとか AI を使いたいのか、なんで使いたいんですかね。どうして使いたいのか。一応いろんな目的ありますよ。いろんな目的があって、いろんな理由はありますけれども、ビジネスのことも考えて、メイクマネーできそうなこともいろいろ考えると、一個だけなんか理由を挙げろって言ったら、僕はなんていうの、良い決断をするために AI が欲しい。ないしは場合によっては、AI が決断するのかもしれないんですけど、でも最後決断を下すのは人間ですから、それのために材料を AI が提供してくれば、それで良い決断をする。で、良い決断を企業でできれば非常に大きなお金が儲かるわけですし、なるべくいい決断をしたいということにデータや AI は使ってるんじゃないかなと、思うわけですね。 で、良い決断をするためには何が一番いいかというと、未来を知ってればこれ決断はすごくやりやすいわけですね。でしかもその未来を知るっていうのは本当に自分だけが知っていて他の人は知らない方がいい、できればですね。でそのためにテクノロジー導入して誰も知らない未来を自分だけが知りたい。でそれに基づいて決断をすることで大きなメリットを得たい。また課題を場合によっては解決できるかもしれないっていうのが、これが最高なわけですね。でもしも本当に未来を知ることができたら、決断はかなり楽なわけですね。だけど、我々未来知ることはできないし、未来を知っているのは神様だけですから、なかなか我々は未来知ろうと思ってもね、なかなか難しいわけです。だけどやっぱり未来知りたいなと、神様に反するようなことをするのかなと、神様にちょっと反抗したいなって我々は人間としては思うわけですね。だから神様を教えてくださいって話もあるんですけど、神様に反抗して、自分たちも未来を知りたいと。でじゃあ未来を知って良い決断を下すための方法論っていうのを、これ多分リスクヘッジの分野とか、保険の分野とかそういった分野だともう古くから議論されているところですね。それで大きくこれ2つの方法が、未来を知るために、は大きく2つの方法があるというふうに言われています。で1つはもうね、未来は知ることができないので過去から知るしかないわけですね。データっていうのは実は全て過去のものですね。データっていうのはどんなにたくさんビッグデータがあってもビッグデータは全て過去のものです。で過去のデータをきちっと数値化して定量化して、でそれで過去のデータから現在を推測していくというやり方ですね。でこういうのは非常にサイエンティフィックなやり方、科学的なやり方でもありますけれども、こういうアプローチもあるんですけれども、ただなかなかねうまくいかないんですよ。なかなかうまくいかない。なかなかうまくいかない。むしろインチュイションですね、直感の方が当たったりする。でここはずっと長い議論があったわけですね。だからこのナンバーとかコンティフィケーションが出てくるっていうことは、要はマスマティクスとインチュイションの戦い、直感と数学の戦いね、どっちが勝つのかずっとやってきている。で昔からそうなんですけども、数学的なやり方がねとても有効な場合っていうのはすごくあります。例えばね、僕が一番簡単な例、本当に数学に基づいて数式に基づいて動いていって、それで我々の生活、経済、ビジネスにも非常に大きな影響を昔から与えている、もう数千年間与えているもの、何かっていったら僕天文学ですね。これは数学でものすごくもう太陽もですね、月も星も数学の通り動くわけです。ですけども、この天文学って別に星で空を見てて別に空が楽しいから見てたわけではなくて、でこれ季節も変わってくるし、自然を知るためのまずね、季節を知るとかそういうことのためには天文って非常に重要で、場合によってはその天文学っていうのが我々の自然のベースですから、でも我々の生活とか経済のいろんなものを支配している、そういったものが天文なわけですね。だから結構昔の人、2000年前も3000年前も天文はものすごく一生懸命やります。で数学もそこで発展したりします。例えばこれ皆さんもね知ってますか？これ何だか知ってます？これ僕読めない。アンティキテラっていうのかな英語で言っても日本語で言ってもよくわかんない。アンティキテラ、これ世界最初で作られた計算の機械って言われてるんですね。なんか2000年以上前です。歯車があって発掘されたんだけど、船からなんか出てきたのかな。最初発掘した人はね、これね歯車だったからなんだか分かんなかったのよ。これなんだ一体って、歯車が精巧な歯車で、どんどんこれ考古学者が分析したんですね。この歯車、これそもそも何の機械かも分かんなかった。で分析してったら、これね天文のね星の周期とかがねこれで表されていて、くるくる回すとね天文の通り動く。だからこれ天文学のための計算するためのものだっていうのがもう今達した結論なんですね。そういう機械がもう出てて、昔はそれをアナリティカルにそういうことの分析をしてきたわけです。
だから天文だからなんでその天文重要かって言ったらね、こう農業をやるんだって漁業をやるんだって、天文非常に季節が重要ですよね。だから、こういうの一生懸命やって季節を分かるようにしてたんだなと。時計とかありませんからね、時計ね。だからこういうのでやってたわけです。だけどそんなね、マスマティックスがね、全ての場合で有効なわけじゃなくて、むしろね、そんなものが有効な場合の方が実はあまり、多くないわけですね。で、例えば今我々現代でも、じゃあ科学的って言っても、地震を予知しようとかね、これ一生懸命やってますけど、なかなか難しいですよね。で、病気を見つけるとかね、こんなのアナリティックに解析的に、じゃあ数学的にできるのかって言ったら、かなり難しいか、または、できたとしても、あまりに精度が悪いか、実用的にならないかどっちかっていうことに、なるわけです。で、そうすると、じゃあそういうふうに解析的に、天文学みたいにアナリティックに解けるものはいいんですけれども、アナリティックに解けないとか、アルゴリズムを作って解くことができないみたいな場合、ないしはそういうことやっても、ベストソリューションにはならないっていう時にどうしましょうっていうのは、これはコンピューターサイエンスの中でもこの問題に関しては思ったんですね。だけどそれで直感ってところだよね。さすがに直感はやめようよってことでね、さすがにね。だからアナリティックにはいかないし、アルゴリズミックもいかないんだけど、でもなんかコンピューターでなんかできないのと言った時のテクノロジーが実は AI なんですね。アーティフィシャルインテリジェンス。だからこれはじゃあ AI って定義いろいろありますけれども、 AI の定義の最も重要なところは多分アナリティックに解けない問題を解くと。しかもコンピューターでっていうのが多分非常に広い定義の仕方の一つじゃないかと思います。だからアナリティックに解けないとどうやって解くかって普通アドホックに解くわけですね。アドホックに解く。でアドホックに解くのも、アドホックをアドホックに解くのってなんか、ね、直感何が変わらないんだったらやめようよって話で、そうするとアドホックを形式化しよう、アドホックをフォーマライズしようっていうふうになってくるんですね。でそれが多分 AI なんだろうな。だから歴史は非常にそういう意味だとこの AI は長くて、実はコンピューターが生まれたのは1946年ですから、そこからもう10年後には AI ということが、これ一番最初ジョン・マッカーシー先生がついこの前亡くなられたんですけども、が AI っていうアーティフィシャルインテリジェンスということを考え、そこから、映画でもねこれ非常にエンターテインメントで有名になりましたけれども、第3世代であると言われています。マッカーシー先生が言い始めたファーストジェネレーションの時代、サーチングとインファレンス、だから探索と推論のテクノロジー、アルゴリズムとかアナリティックにやるのとはもうちょっと違う計算ですよね。そういうのをやって、でセカンドジェネレーション、ちょうどこれがね僕が学生の時です。ちょうど僕の学生の時がセカンドジェネレーションで AI ずっとやってた時代で、その頃はもうナレッジですね、ナレッジ、プロセッシング、知識の時代で、この頃はまだねインターネットがなかったので、ナレッジはね人手で、クローズな環境で部屋の中でみんなナレッジ作ってくるんですね。オープンなネットワークでデータ集めるとかね、そういう時代ではなかった。で今がサードジェネレーションというのはね、でデータをインターネットで集めてマシンラーニング、ディープラーニングをしていくというようなこと。だから過去 AI の、技術っていろいろあって、これ英徳問題の探索とかね、当時はこういう言語を使ったわけだね、ISPで、あと第2世代の頃に最も重要だった技術は一回熟語論理、ファーストオーダープレディケイトロジックで、それを言語にしたものに、プロログなんていう言語があって、で、エクスパートシステムっていうインファレンスしたりとか、そういうための、推論するためのこういうエンジンを作って、領地の診断をしたりとか、やることは今とだいぶ似てますけれども、やり方はもう全然違ったと。で定理の証明をしようとか、こういうのが、あって今までになってきてるわけですね。ロングヒストリーがありますと。だけども、でそういうふうにやってて、でそのアナリティックなやり方とかですね、今みたいな AI のやり方でもなかなかやっぱりねうまくいかないことが、アナリティックなアプローチがうまくいかないケースがあります。でどんなケースあるかちょっと3つぐらい挙げたいんですけれども、1つは俗にね、やっぱり直感がどんなにコンピューターでやっても直感に勝てないなっていう分野がやっぱりなかなかあって、で今のサードジェネレーションの AI は結構直感に挑戦してますよね。で直感に挑戦して、あるエリアにおいては直感を上回る AI がだいぶ出てきています。例えば、将棋とか囲碁とかチェスとかゲームですね。ゲームはなかなか探索をすると全探索はできなくて計算上的にですね。で でそうした時にどうするかっていった時に、まあ、人間全探索を頭の中にしてるわけではないわけに直感でピンピンピンって打ってるわけですけども、それがコンピューターで一生懸命こう計算されたものよりは上回ってるっていうのがありますが、ただいろんな失点によってその辺なんかは勝ってきたわけですね。でマスマティカルなソリューションよりもインチュイションが勝ってきたものの中には、まあ、さっきの5とかいうのもありますけど、もうちょっと一般化して言えば多分エキスパートのスキルっていうのはそういうようなもんだと言われてきたわけですね。でまあ、巧みちょっとなんかこういうの例がちょっと今自分でも見てよかったかどうかは分かんないけど、でそうするとじゃあ人間の巧みとかそのインチュイション直感がコンピューターを上回っちゃうってことは、まあ研究する方としてはじゃあ直感の秘密、直感ってなんですごいの、直感のメカニズムは何なのって知りたくなるんですね。だからこれは一つは AI の大きい分野の一つです。でどういうアプローチが出てくるかっていうと、じゃあ人間はどうなのか追求してみようっていうので心理学とか脳科学っていうのを研究し始めて、人間の頭と同じことを研究して、それをコンピューターでやらせようと。でそうすると、結果としてはニューラルネットワークみたいなのが出てきますね。でもう一つ、なんかモデル化しようと、数学的に解こうと思ってモデル化しようとするんだけど、モデルがあまりに複雑すぎちゃって、ちょっとこれモデルなんか作れねえべっていう場合ですね。こういうのも出てきます。で今の世の中の、おそらくほとんどの課題は多分これですね。これはかなりで、例えば生命なんてもうだってモデルができないでしょ、こんなもん。分かんない。あまりに複雑すぎる。でそういうと我々のリアルな問題ってほとんど複雑で、数学的モデル作るのなんかかなり無理。社会だってどうやってモデル作るんですか、こんなもん。ねえ、モデルなんか作れない。自然だってそうですよね。それいったら経済もそうだし、まあ経済学者の人はいろいろモデル作りますけども、いやモデルは重要ですよ。だけどなかなか精度が分かんないですよね。これみんなそうですよね。自然でも社会でもライフでも一応モデルは作るわけですよ。でポイントはね、それがプラクティカルに利益が出るほどの精度がきちっと出るかというところが最大のポイントなんですね。大学の研究者はいいんですよ。なんかモデルができて表せてれば、それでああよかったね、なんか 30% 説明できるが、それでまあ大学は満足なんですけど、リアルな社会の中でこれをやろうと思ったら、それで十分経済的なメリットが出る制度が出ない限りモデル化して意味ないわけですよね。まあなんか分かって嬉しいかもしれないけど、別に何の価値もない。これ社会もそうだし、ネイチャーもそうだし、エコノミーもそうだし、ビジネスもそうですね。こんなの数学的モデル作るの難しい。アートっていうのもありますよね。アート直感だから意外と簡単って話もあるんですけど、なのでそうするとマスマティカルなソリューションをモデルなしにできないのってありますよね。モデル作ってらんないからモデルなしにマスマティカルにできないのか、ね、そうすると、ね、こういうのが出てくるね。統計、風が吹けば岡山が儲かるみたいなね。インプットとアウトプットだけ見るんだよね。だんだん今の AI でしょ。インプットとアウトプットだけ見る。中がどうだろうと関係ない。どうでもいい。なんか知る必要もない。知らなくてもなんとかなる。だから最強の学問とも言われるわけですね。で、いいのはどんな問題に対しても適用できるね。同じ中身でこの汎用性はすごい。で、それとさっきの、脳科学とかサイコロジーとのアプローチとこれを組み合わせていくと、多分今のマシンラーニングとかディープラーニングというものになってくるね。で、あとモデルはできる、ちょっとこれできないっていうとなんだけど、ある程度できるけどやってみるとなんか計算量が爆発して、実用的にはちょっとやってらんないよっていう、まあそういう場合も出てきます。例えば気象なんかですね。気象これ精度を上げようと思うとどんどん密度を上げていけばいいんですけれども、細かく分けていけばいいんですけど、ただでスーパーコンピューターを持ってきてやるわけですが、まあ、なかなかこう精度を上げてくると計算量が爆発してですね、なかなか実用的な解が出ないということになっています。で、この計算量の爆発に対してこれどう対応するのかっていった時にも有効なのは実はAI ディープラーニングで、その時の本質はですね、僕今日一番言いたいことのない一つの単語はこれだけです。要素還元主義、英語で言うとリダクショニズムですね。これは何かというと、これ科学哲学の言葉です。で、これね、だからこういうの出てくるとね、俺さすがにそれね、英語で喋れないね、これ。コンピューターサイエンスとしてはね、ちょっと難しすぎる。それで、これはね、どういうものかというと、ちょっと日本語で言うと、ちょっと英語でもこれ書いてありますけど、複雑なことでも、それを構成する要素に分解し、その要素を理解すれば元の複雑なものが全部理解できるはずだ。 でコンピューターは多分これをベースに考えてた。てかね、科学のやり方なんですよ。でこれは、現代においてさっきのモデル作るの難しいって言ったものはリダクショニズムでは解けない問題だと言われています。リダクションしてもね、要はコンピューターでどういうことかというと、リダクションするとね、話が簡単になるはずなんだけど、問題によってはね、リダクションして細かくしていってもね、問題が簡単にならない問題が実はたくさんあったんですね。生命なんかはそうで、細胞まで分けたけど話は簡単にならなくて、結局膨大な細胞がどうつながってるかっていう、細かくすればするほど複雑度が大きくなっちゃってもどうしようもなくなってシンプルにならないっていう問題がたくさん、よく複雑系っていうものですね。っていうのがあって、だけどシミュレーションっていうコンピューターの中でのやり方、未来を知るためにラーニングとか AI ありますけど、もう一個重要な方法を今までやってきた皆さんシミュレーションをやったわけですね。シミュレーションで、シミュレーションはこの要素還元子の権化ですね。もう徹底的にこれをコンピューターでやりましょうと、全部細かく分けてしまって、で細かいものをコンピューターのパワーの力にものを言わせて、もう全部計算して、それでやってみようなんだけど、それでもさっきの気象の問題とか場合によっていろんな問題は全宇宙のエネルギーを使ってもできないぐらいの計算力が必要な問題まで出てきちゃったわけですね。だからこんなのでリダクショニズムには限界があります。でこれに対して立ち向かっているのがおそらく今の AI なんですね。だから、シミュレーションっていうのはそういう意味では、非常に典型的なリダクショニズムのテクノロジーですけども、シミュレーションやってみるとあまりにもコンピューテーションのアマウントが大きすぎてもうどうしようもならないで、結局結論を得られることができないけども、未来を知って答えを出したいことっていうのは実はたくさん今世の中に問題があるんだってことが見えてきたので、だからそこでマシンラーニングしましょうと。だから要素に還元しないで解くっていうある種とんでもない話なんですね。だからマシンラーニングって AI ってそれね、なんかやって最適化してよかったねなんていう単純な世界じゃなくて、意外とねものすごいインパクトがあって、これ科学のですね基本的な手法に対する結構挑戦なんですね。だからそれぐらいの実は大きなインパクトを実は持っています。だから要素還元主義の否定なんですよ、これは。で要素還元主義の否定って哲学の人はやったんですよ、いろいろ机上の空論で。でも具体的な方法なんか要素還元主義ってね、今の科学の手法だから、これでいろんな問題解いてきたわけ、人類が。だけど、じゃあこれ以外の方法あるって机上の空論では哲学者は言えるんだけど、じゃあ具体的にプラクティカルに使える要素関係主義以外の方法なんかあるのかって言われたら、ないって話だったわけね。だけど、とうとう出てきちゃったのが、多分この、マシンラーニング、ディープラーニングですね。だって中身モデル化しないで、要素に還元しないで問題解いちゃおうと。そうすると、計算量に合わせた精度でやっていくってこともできるわけね。そういうこともできる。だからある種この AI っていうのは還元主義を非常に超える試みなのかなというので、非常にインパクトがあることだなっていう気があると思います。となると AI そういう非常に重要なんですけども、とはいえですね、でそういった方法でいろいろ方法論がですね、今のサードジェネレーションの AI でどんどん発展していって、未来が予測できるようになります。でその時にイントゥイションなんかやっぱり数値を取るんではなくて、ちゃんと数学的なですね、定量化して数字を使ってここから未来をっていう方法でイントゥイションに挑戦しようっていうのは、やはりそれは基本的な考え方だと思いますが、でそのためには過去のデータっていうのは、ちょっとデータの話にやっと入るんですけど、あと10分ぐらいですね、非常に重要なところです。でデータを取るための技術は何かっていうと、それが実は僕の専門はこっちなんですけども、 IoT ですね、インターネットをスイングするセンサーとかを今のところにばらまいて、どんどん実世界のデータを機械的に取っていきましょう。でこういうのがあったからこそデータがいろいろたまることになりました。で今はですね、僕自分のやってる仕事は IoT なんですが、で、このたまったデータを、次のステップとしてはいかにグローバルに共有するかっていうところに、だんだん国の事業とかですね、プロジェクトも移ってきています。で AI はよくそのデータハンディで言われるようにですね、そういうところにでもどんどんデータを提供するのが重要ですね。ですけども、データはよく日本のメディアとかを見てるとですね、アメリカで言えば GAFA、 中国で言えばバットが独占してしまっているので、その独占を何とかしなきゃいけないっていう論調が随分ありますが、これも机上の空論です、基本的には。多分世の中にあるデータの 99.9% はまだ細かく、いろんなデータホルダーの人が自分で抱えて持っています。これが現状です。で残りの 0.1% がネットに上がっている。で でそのネットに上がってるものに対して、GAFA やバットの人たちがかなり、大量に集めて、それを独占と言われていますけれども、そもそもそういうところに乗っかってないリアルなデータが、99.9%。それをいかに外に出させて共有するかっていうところが今大きな課題になっているっていうのがデータの、世界だと思います。でよくですね、これも英語にすると難しいね。だから日本語で言うサイド化されてるっていうことですね。だから細かく分かれちゃってそれぞれが持ってるっていうのが現在のデータの現状じゃないかと思います。で大きなデータかつでも大きなデータは AI だけじゃなくてもう先ほどのシミュレーションの手法でも当然必要だしそうでない解析的な手法でも必要なので、用途はいろいろあります。ですけどもこのビッグデータが必要だっていうのはもうこういったあらゆる分野で非常に重要です。なので、そういうグローバルなデータのインフラを作りたいというのがこれが実は僕の今の仕事でございまして、世の中にあるインフォメーションですね、これをまだまだデータ化したいものがたくさんあるんですけど、そのデータ化したいものをデータ化してもらって、でそのデータも社内にあるだけで会社の中にあるだけではなくてそれをネットで取れるようにしてもらい、で現在はそれを例えばパブリックトランスポーテーション、公共交通とか気象ウェザーとか、産業インダストリーデータっていうので各分野ごとに、インフラを作ろうっていうところまでは、だいぶ今は話は日本の中でも進んできています。だけどもこの分野がまたね100個か200個あるんですね産業分野がコミュニティがですね、でそうすると結局日本の中にどんなデータがあるのかはそれぞれの分野はそれぞれの分野の中は分かりますが他のことはやっぱ全く分からないのでやっぱりちょっとグローバルなデータプラットフォームっていうよね。でかつこれを誰かが独占するのは嫌ですよね。で協調領域コラボレーション領域としてこういうグローバルなデータプラットフォームを欲しい。で今日の先ほどの話で言うと、ね、ここを誰かに独占してほしくないとなってくるとじゃあここはブロックチェーンっていうテクノロジーは有効かなとかですね、そういう話にはなってくるわけですね。だからこういう背景にはこういうようなデータインフラを作ろうっていう話があります。でこういうので誰かが集約するっていう意味とだからイメージはねなんかね集約したねスーパーコンピューターがドーンとかスーパーデータベースがドーンとあるっていう感じではなくてデータはそれぞれの人が持っててこういうようなそれぞれのデータを持っている人たちが1億人ぐらいいるわけですね。1億会社ぐらいあるわけですね。それをこう緩やかにつなげていってどこに何があるかが分かるようにしてデータが欲しい時は標準的な方法で取れるようにするっていうぐらいのイメージを持った方がいいかな。だからこういうものを作っていこうと。で日本でも今こういうものを作っていこうっていうのは僕やってますし、であとこれは日本だけじゃなくて実はヨーロッパでドイツなんかも同じ考え方でインダストリアルデータスペースないしはインターナショナルデータスペースっていうものを言って、ドイツはこれ、ね、インダストリー 4.0 ってインダストリーの分野でデータ集めてきたんですけどもファイナンス、リテール、エナジーいろんな分野にわたる横串のこういう緩やかなものを作っていこうっていうのはドイツも始めています。なのでこういうことをやっていかなきゃいけない。だから AI のためにもこういうデータインフラっていうのは極めて重要です。で今度はね逆にこの、ね、データをやってる側からも実は AI の助けがないとデータが今は作れない状態です。でちょっと1個だけ話大丈夫かな、もう40分になっちゃってるねもうちょっとね。それで、だから AI こうデータになってるんですけどもちょっと1個ね僕のやってるプロジェクトを紹介するとデータ駆動型農業っていうのをやっています。これすごいでしょ。これトマト畑、トマトのハウス、これ 4.3 ヘクタールあります屋内ですごいのよ。これ全部トマトね。それでこれでどうなってるかというと中身は全部コンピューターコントロールです。でデータを全部取ります。温度、湿度、二酸化炭素の濃度、日射量、太陽の量ですね。そういうのを全部取ります。で二酸化炭素はコンピューターコントロールでフィードされます。で水や養分もコンピューターコントロールでフィードされます。でそれを全てコンピューターで数値的に管理をしていますっていうようなインテリジェントなスマートグリーンハウスに、なっています。でこんな感じでね、これ日本語で言うとね、英語だともうここに見えないのはこれ、点滴式っていうんだよねこれ英語だとなんて訳すんだろうね、点滴式のね、ウォーターフィードになってる。それで、横にはねボイラーがあって、これが二酸化炭素を燃やして供給をしています。 で要はだってさ、光がこういうねビニールハウスで最大の問題は何かっていうと、光がゴーってサンシャインがあると、光合成だからそういうのも英語できないんだよね光合成が進むと、二酸化炭素なくなっちゃうでしょ。でね、ビニールハウスの中で酸欠状態じゃなくて二酸化炭素欠乏状態になっちゃうんですよ。でそうするとね、光合成できなくなっちゃうの。だから光の量に応じて二酸化炭素の量とか制御しないといけないよね。であと水もそうで、二酸化炭素はね光合成してる時にリアルタイムに打てばいいんですけど、水はね前日に上げておかないといけないんですね。だから日射量の予測だからデータが必要なんですね。天気予報のデータがあって、日射量の予測に応じて前の日に水をあらかじめ上げておかないといけません。でしかもそれ上げすぎると、成長しすぎてトマトみんな割れちゃうそうです。だからどこまで抑えるかっていうのは結構微妙だから、その辺どこまで抑えたらいいかなんていかにも AI ができそうでしょ、使えそうでしょ。まさにそうなんですよ。だからデータドリブンで AI を使ったアグリカルチャーですね。でこういうのを使ってやっていく。だからこれ僕も今このプロジェクトやってて、センサーのデータがあり、でいろんなクオリティのデータとハーベストのデータがあって AI エンジンに食わせて、それで収量を上げるとか、品質を上げるとか、なんか予測するとか、なんか異常がないかとか検知するとかっていうのをなんかエンジン作れないかなと思うわけですね。だからまあこういうのやる。だからそれこそこういうデータが必要なんですね。でそうするとね、でまあちょっとゴールちょっと時間がないので、ここにいろんな目的があるんですけども、実は農業の人に言わせると一番重要なことは量を増やすとかいうことではなくて、実はね収穫の時期を制御することだっていうふうに言ってまして、これ畑で作ってれば当然収量波があるわけですね。した時にこのどの農家も出せない、出荷できない時に出荷できるとプライスは一番高いので、ここで出荷できるといいわけですね。そしてね、たくさん作ってもね値段下がっちゃうだけなので、あんまり収益につながらないんですよ。で収益上げようと思うとこの時期に作れるといいので、出荷の時期の制御、タイミングの制御っていうのは非常にお金に結びつきます。だから、ここの中でいうと、まあ、こっちエスティメーションなんか非常に大事ですね。でそうするとどういう環境で来ると、いつできるのかっていうことを、エンジンである程度分かるようになってくるとまあいいなってわけですね。でそうすると必要なのはラーニングするトレーニングセットを作ろうと思うと、ハーベストデータっていうどれぐらい収穫できたかっていう出来具合を知りたいわけですね。そうじゃないとトレーニングできないので、環境とその結果としてのハーベストを両方食わせてやってトレーニングしてエスティメーションできるようにするわけですけど、その時にねこれハーベストデータ取るのってたまんないですよ。だってハーベストデータってこれだもんこれどうやって数えるんだよ一体で、明日なりました、明日どれぐらい増えたかってこれどうすんの一体、これもどうするのですよね。た時に、まあ、今よくやるのはやっぱり AI 使うんでね、やっぱカメラを置いておいて、まあ、サンプルですけども、まあ、これでどれぐらい取れたかなっていうのと大きさと数をやっぱり数えるっていうことですね。っていうようなことがやっぱりだからデータを作るところで AI っていうのは非常に重要です今。でさらにこれをやるためにまたデータが必要、これをやるためにまた今度ね この AI をやるためのデータが必要で、なんでかっていうとこれトマトを認識するので、トマトの認識のトレーニングセットのためにはトマトの大量の画像データが必要なんで、だからなんか鶏が先卵が先を、ね、何回も繰り返すんですよ。だからデータ AI データデータ AI データでっていうので、非常にだから密な関係があります。で似た話はね漁業もあって、これも僕のプロジェクトなんですけども、これタイはシービームというのかな、いうらしいです。でいけす、カルチャーファームがあるんですね。でこれ10メーターぐらいです。で10メーターかけ10メーターの中で3000匹います。3000匹います。でその一つの、いけすで3000匹で、日本円でいうと大体1000万円ぐらいの売り上げになります。結構お金になるんですよ。で2年間でね、コストの8割はね餌代だから、餌代が例えば 10% 節約できただけでかなり数十万円の利益が上がるんですね。これ結構いけるんですね。でその時にねこれをやってみようと思った時に、じゃあどうするとコストセービングできるかなって言った時に、最初に思ったのがですね、目をつけたのがこれ3000匹、ね、さっきの、ね、トマトで一緒する漁師さんに聞きました。数えたんですかって。漁師さんが言いました。数えられるわけないでしょ。だからこの中に3000匹ねいるかどうかね誰も数えてない。 そもそも数えることなんかできないでしょって開き直られちゃってまあそうだね、だってこうだもんねどうやって数えるんだよ一体って。これやっぱね AI 頑張るしかないですね。でね、ただね、数え方はちょっとあって、これね、いけすがあって、最初ね、稚魚をね、1万2000匹買ってくるそうなんですよ。まあ、これも信じてるところがなんとも言えないんだけど、まあ、1万2000匹はまあちゃんと稚魚屋さんは正しいと思いましょう。で1万2000匹入れます。で、育ってくると6000、6000に分けるんですね。だからいけすを移動させるんですね。だその時に、例えば透明のさ、なんか50センチぐらいの直径のパイプやって、そこカメラを置いて、こう通ってるのを画像認識していけば、まあ、ある程度カウントできそうですよね。だそれで数をきちっとやれば、まあ、3000までとか、その辺はきちっとできるんじゃないかなと。っていうような、この農業もそうだし、水産業もそうなんですけど、まずね、数えるとか測るっていうことはね、全くできてない。だそのデータが全然取れてないのが現状ですね。だから餌やり機もいい加減なんですね、結構ね。これ餌やり機の中身なんですけど、タイマーがあるだけで、スクリューがぐるぐるって回ったら餌がポタポタポタって落ちます。でこれを1日1回ガーってやるだけなんでね、雨の日も風の日もあったかい日も寒い日もみんな同じです。だからものすごい餌が無駄になってますよね、おそらく。だからその辺ちょっと数えたりとかできれば相当収益上がるんじゃないかなっていうのを、ちょっと僕なんかもそういうプロジェクトをやってたりして、います。で最後ね、大笑いなんですよ。それでね、これ餌やり機こんなんでしょ。だからね、聞いてみたの、漁師さんに「餌やり機ってどこで売ってるんですか?」って聞いたの。「どこで売ってるんですか?」って聞いたら答えが面白くてね、餌屋さんから買うんですってだもんね、餌節約するようになってるわけないよねということね。まあということで、その AI データは AI にとっても重要だし、データにとっても AI は重要っていうことでね、だからそこは非常に密な関係があるってことがちょっと申し上げたんですよね。でそうするとね、ただ次がまだちょっとあるんですね。で今みたいな AI の進展によって、まあ、少しだけ未来がもうちょっとよく見通せるようになったなと、見えるようになったな。で次何するか、実は日本においては僕はとっても課題だと思います。もうここはちょっと科学技術の話じゃないんですけど、まあ、変えるってことですね。だってディシジョンしたってさディシジョンしただけじゃなんともなんないんですよ。あと変えないと、実際にアクションを起こさないといけないのでね。だから、まあ、リアルワールドからデータを取ってくるとか、まあ、IoT、まあ、AI の助けも借りるでしょう。でそこからいろいろAI に回して、ディシジョンしますと。でここまで来たらね、次はアクションにしなきゃいけない。でアクションをするときには何らかのチェンジが必要で、これはまた非常に日本の場合が難しいところで、またこういった、AI をやるからにはエンジニアの人としてはいくらディシジョン出しても全然変わらないんだけどってのは結構虚しいので、もうちょっとなんかチェンジできないかなと、まあ、非常に重要だと思います。ということで、今日データの話と AI の関係とかですね、AI ということは僕一番申し上げたかったのはリダクショニズムですね、まあ、そういうような意味があるんだというインパクトを一番申し上げたというふうに思います。はい、以上です。どうもありがとうございます。ちょっと時間長くなりました。
Mr. Koshizuka, thank you so much. It was very fascinating to hear about not only the theoretical approaches about how to use AI and data, but also how it's being applied in the field of agriculture industries in Japan. So thank you so much. So as before, I'd like to begin with the question and answer segment. So we have already a question, wonderful. So if you could raise your hand, and non-Japanese speakers, please switch your interpreting into English. Thank you.
すみません、日本でお願いします。平田と申します。要素還元主義のところで、生命の最初単位を細胞で止められたんですけれど、これを遺伝子まで落としてしまうと、ACTG の4種類で、この組み合わせなので、すごくデジタルの世界になってくる。その辺どうお考えますか。
そこですね。そこも、多分遺伝子、まあ今日ちょっと例は細胞までしか言いませんでしたけども、実は遺伝子っていうのは何も表せてないっていうふうに考えられていて、これどういうことかというと、遺伝子の人間のゲノムの量っていうのをゲノム全部解析されてますよね。で人間のゲノムの情報量って驚くほど少ないんですよ。CD ロムも一番入ってるかな、650メガバイトぐらいだと思うんですよ、ACDC。でこれはどう考えても日本の人間の全メカニズムがそこに入っていくのは考えられていなくて、であれで入っていくのは何かというと、タンパク質の型紙の集積があれだって言われてますね。 で、そのタンパク質の型紙を合わせると全部あれなので、だから人間ほど高度な、生物でない生物でも人間より DNA が大きい生物もたくさんあります。人間より大きい DNA を持った生物他にもいます。で、まだ分かってないのは、我々ここおでこの細胞もこの指の先の細胞も同じ DNA を持ってるはずですよね。で、ここを傷つけて出てきたらここから手出てこないですよね。で、ここを切ってここから唇出てこないですよね。なぜか手になるんですよね。で、ここおでこになるんですよね。っていうのは、ここにいる細胞は自分はここにいるっていうことがきちっと認識されていて、それによって遺伝子のこの部分を解きほどいて、それでタンパク質を作って、ここを再生するっていうことをやっています。で、この仕組みは全く分かんないですよ。で、それがどうなっているかの解明は全くできていないけれども、ただ、そこがおそらく人間が人間の形として、こういう活動ができているところの本質はむしろそこだろうということを考えると、人間のこの本質的なところとか生命の本質的なところは、DNA にもタンパク質の型紙という形ではかなり書かれてはいますけれども、それ以外のところがかなりあるはずだということが言われて、この前の NHK のテレビでやってましたけども細胞の動機って話があってね、あれすごく面白かったんですけど、同じ DNA でこう増えてるけれども、ちゃんと同期して成長していかないと体がちゃんとできないので、動機のメカニズムっていうのがあってですね、でそういうのも少しずつこう分かってきているはずです。で、私の仲の良かった大先生に浅島先生と生物の先生がいらっしゃるんですけども、2文字だったか山文字だったかで、細胞を誤解させて、手から足生やすみたいなね、そういう研究している先生もいらっしゃいます。でそれがね、あるね、濃度、溶液のね、濃度を変えることでそれが制御できるみたいで、だからでその仕組みはまだ多分解明全然できてないとは言わないですけども、まだ始まったばっかりみたいですね。ということで、なかなかその遺伝子でデジタルな世界に行くかと思ったら、まだまだ他のところでアナログチップの話ですね。で、あと次に今そのご質問を受けていただいたので、あとニューラルネットワークの話をすると、あれも、今の AI だとニューラルネットワークで細胞のレベルで止めちゃうんですけれども、議論を。あれはかなりやばいと思ってまして、なんでかっていうと、ニューラルを細胞のレベルで止めちゃうと、説明できないものがですね、単細胞生物の、インテリジェントな動きですね。これはどういう仕組みでやってるのかと。だってあれ細胞1個しかないですから、大腸菌とか緑虫とか。でも緑虫だとインテリジェントに動くわけですよね、全盲運動しながら。あれはどういう処理メカニズムで動いているのかっていうのは、多分ニューラルネットワークでは全く説明できないわけですね。だって細胞1個しかないんだもん。ねえ、これどうするんかね。だから僕ちょっとね、人工知能やる前にね、人工緑虫作ってみたいと思うんですよ。緑虫ぐらい、あれぐらいの単純なものでも作るの難しいんじゃないですか、あれ。メカニズムわかんなくて。でなのにね、ちょっとマクロチックにこう行くのって難しいのかな。だからちょっと次これ申し上げるのは僕ね、全然こう素人的な余談で学問的な裏付けは全くないんですけども、ニューロンで電気信号流れてるのって僕あれで本当に情報処理してるかどうかは結構ハテナで、実は違う仕組みで実は情報処理はなされていて、ニューロンの間を流れてる電気って実はこうもうちょっとマクロに見ると、都市と都市の間が電気が流れてる送電線を見てるだけなんじゃないかなと思って、その内側で実はもっと小さい仕組みがたくさんあって、実は情報処理ってもっとするぐらいですね。でも、今の考え方自体が要素還元主義ですね。自分で言ってること自分で矛盾してるんだけど。っていうことでは多分ね、僕ね、だから僕素人で、今言ったようなアプローチだと多分ね、生命現象はね、説明できないみたいですね。中にもっとなんかあるんじゃないかなとか、中にもっとなんかあるんじゃないかってどうもね、ダメみたい。もしかしたら生命のがどうなってるかの仕組みはディープラーニングさせた方がいいかもしれないね。その方がなんかいい結論が出るかもしれないと思いました。ちょっと答えになったか分かんないけど。
Thank you. We have one more question in the back.
はい、リダクショニズムというと、私はすぐにホリズムを思い浮かぶんですね。で、リダクショニズムに対してその AI っていうバズワードがこれだけエコノミーと一緒に強くなってしまうと、ホリズムっていう私にとっては結構大切だったコンセプトがもうデリートされてしまって、これから先そのホリズムはどうなっていくのかなっていう、それをお聞きしたいです。
ホリズム、すみません、僕聞き上げに無学をさらけ出すようでなんなんですけど、ホリズムってどういうものですか
1+1が3という。 そういうでもっとホリスティックビューですね、全体像を見るだから細かく分けていかないでそのマイクロの世界に見るんじゃなくてもっと全体像を見ていく、それで進んでいくみたいな。
だからあれじゃないですかね、だから
全体
です了解が入る。そういう意味だと私が思ったのはリダクショニズムにしたいわけじゃなくて、あれじゃない方向だから、もしかするとだからちょっとホリゾン僕も完全に理解してないんですけども、その AI とか今のディープラインの世界はだからホリゾンにどっちかと近いそちらにアプローチしてるんじゃないかと。
で私はAI っていうことを全く学ばないときにリダクショニズムには限界があるから、ホリズムでのパースペクティブは大切だっていうふうに、大学院レベルで学んできて、それで最近に及んで、もちろんその AI っていうのは長い間研究者によって語られていたにもかかわらず、私はアメリカにいたにもかかわらず AI っていうのはあんまりそのマシンラーニングっていうバズワードは今に至るまであんまり聞いてこなかったので、そこのところをもう少し AI の方はホリズムの可能性っていうものも研究していかないと、せっかくリダクショニズムは限界ある、ホリズムをもっと大切にしようというふうに学んできたものにとってはちょっとあれどうなってるのかなっていう疑問になります。
わかりました。で、私思うにこれ AI って歴史ありまして、今のラーニング出てきてこういうことができるようになってるのはサードジェネレーションになって初めて出てきた話だから、結構新しいのでまだ議論がそこまで深まってないっていう。
Third generation starts from 2010, right? So I had a chance to study way before that. So that's why I question.
Thank you. Very high level question. We have room for one more question. Just the general element here.
マイクが行くまで、ただ僕ね、やるときね、こういう議論をもうちょっと僕ね、もうちょっとこれする場があった方がいいと思ったんですよね。それ今日聞いて
ありがとうございます。データを共有することが大事だというお話なんですけれども、情報銀行っていう枠組みというかビジネスがあると思うんですけれども、それについてはどう思いますか？
情報銀行ですか、情報銀行、ちょっと広い定義、狭い定義、たくさんあるんですけれども、今、一般的に言われているのは、対象になっているのが、まずパーソナルデータですね。でパーソナルデータを預けて、それで、パーソナルデータの流通のさせ方とか使い方には、大きく2つのアプローチがある。で1つが、パーソナルデータストアという言い方。でもう1つが情報銀行という言い方。で情報銀行は多分日本特有です。日本独特で他の国では言われていません。それで、パーソナルデータストアの特徴は何かというと、自分のデータは自分のものだから全て自分で制御しますというのがパーソナルデータストアです。で情報銀行は、パーソナルデータストアがもしもそういうやり方をやると少し問題があるというんですね。でどういう問題かというと、自分のデータっていうのはものすごいたくさんのデータがあります。で自分のデータを使って提供するプレイヤーもたくさんあります。1000個のデータを1000個のプレイヤーに対して誰に何を出して何を出さないかっていうのの制御はもう素人には無理でしょうっていうのが、情報銀行の人たちの言っていることです。だからその制御を誰かに委託したらどうですかと。予託っていうのが何日本語だと予託、英語だと何て言っていいのかちょっと分かんないですけど、やろうっていうのがそれ情報銀行ですね。で僕はそれに対してどう思ってるかというと、一つはもうちょっとね、パーソナルデータストアの方で自分のデータを管理するところを大変っていう話はあるんだけども、その大変さはテクノロジーで乗り越えることはできないのかと。だからどのデータをどう出すっていうのをちゃんと分かりやすくする方法がないのかっていう、それを僕はもっと追求すべきだというふうに思っています。で僕の研究室でやったことは、パーソナルデータを、自分のデータを誰に出すかっていうようなことのアクセスコントロールをするんですけども、このアクセスコントロールが AI でできないかっていうのを、研究室去年やりました。でそれは今まで自分がこのデータをこれに出す、このデータをこれに出すっていうことの事例をデータでログで取っていってラーニングさせると 95% ぐらい正しいデフォルトを作ってくれるんじゃないかなと。であとは違うところを直すっていう形にすれば、人に予託しなくても銀行に渡さなくても自分で全部できるんじゃないかなとっていう可能性は僕は非常に感じていて、僕はエンジニアとしてはそっちをもっともっと追求すべきで、それをやってもできなかったら銀行はしょうがないかなって思うんですけど、 ただそれもやりもしないで銀行はね、あまりにも僕はビジネスの、メリットを先に出しすぎな感じが僕はしています。で、あまりにもやはりその予託してやるっていうことが行き過ぎると、やっぱり消費者の人の非常に反発、別の言葉で言えば炎上するんじゃないかなっていう心配を、すごく持っています。で、あと今の情報銀行の制度で、だから僕直接かかっててものすごい意見たくさんあるんですけど、もう一個最大の課題は何かっていうと、もしも銀行っていうアナロジーを使うのであれば、情報銀行が、パーソナルデータを自分で使ってビジネスするのはやっちゃいけないと思っています。だから銀行がね、それはどういうことかっていうと、だって銀行我々お金預けて、で銀行がだって銀行がお店作っちゃって、そのなんか野菜売ってんの。で野菜売ってて、その野菜売るために僕らが預けた銀行のお金を銀行が使って野菜売りやってたら怒るでしょ。でこれは銀行法で規制されていて、銀行は銀行しかやっちゃいけないんですよ。サービスやっちゃいけないんですよ。そのお金を使って、そういう規制がかかってるわけね。なんだけど情報銀行はね、それがないな。自分でビジネスやっちゃっていいんですよ。これはね、僕ね、良くないんじゃないかなっていうのは、これは僕の意見です。ただ、世の中の大半はそこを切っちゃうと、お金の銀行は銀行業だけでビジネス成り立つけど、情報銀行は情報を預かってだけどビジネスにならないので誰もできないから、やっぱりちょっとサービスとのコネクションは、ないといけないんじゃないかっていうのが、世の中の趨勢です。で僕は比較的それはあんまり好きではないです。であとパーソナルデータストアを追求しないですぐ情報銀行に行っちゃうのもあんまり好きではないですっていうのが、
So, as our speakers have already spoken before, I will redact an introduction, but just to introduce our speakers, it is Frederick Buesler who will be the moderator of today's discussion, together with Professor Noboru Koshizuka and Mr. Owen Tao. And the theme of today's discussion will be mostly focused on the theme of the entirety of the event, which is the applications of AI and how it's being used in how data is being used in AI and blockchain through this particular focus on the realm of East Asia. So I'd like to take it away, Frederick. Thank you, sir. Everyone, I want a warm round of applause, please.
Thank you, John, for the introduction. So the first question is for Owen, which is, how would you characterize the current state of the AI and blockchain ecosystems in China?
In China, in fact, is very different market. The Chinese government don't like the decentralized system. So in these situations, that stopped the blockchain technologies development in China. But in another hand, the government also think the blockchain technologies should be very useful technologies in the future. So in China, the most applications based on the private or the permission chains. So in China, in the blockchain industry, there are already some real applications such as the blockchain's invoice, also all for the goods tracing source. But for the AI in China, there are the most advanced AI technologies is handled by the huge companies such as the Alibaba, Tencent, or Baidu, the BAT. But in fact, there are already some real use applications for the people. There are two very famous applications. They came from the same company. The first one is in Chinese named 今日头条. Today's headline. It's something. It will recommend the news and articles according your reading habit. In China, there already has hundreds of million users. Another one is in Chinese named Douyin. I think it should be also has been used in Japan or something else. And its English name is TikTok. It's a video applications. It has billions users all over the world. What does AI use in that videos is just use the image or the video analysis to make your, if you are a girl, you are recording a video, it can make you look bright or fit, it make you more beautiful. Yeah, that's has been, this technology is bringing these applications, lots of the users. Another way, in China, the different is the China has lots of the AI companies in hardware, lots of the, such as Horizon or they started to announce the AI technologies chips they want to improve the performance of the AI calculating. Yeah, that's what's the AI and the blockchain situation in China.
Great, thank you. So the next question for Dr. Koshizuka is the same, but regarding Japan. So how would you characterize the current state of the AI and blockchain ecosystem in Japan?
I think that the AI and also the blockchain, such kind of the information technology, the application is, I think, very, very important. The application is very closely connected to the society. And China and Japan, the social situation is completely different. For example, the power leaders of government is very strong. but in case of Japan, the leadership of the government is very weak, I think. And China is very centralized market. So the distributed system, Chinese government do not like the distributed decentralized system. But in case of Japan, too distributed, society is too distributed. Many small companies, many small local governments. This is the situation. So the situation is completely different in Japan and China. And in case of Japan, AI, as for AI is very interesting situation now. I think I would like to talk about the six issue in the current state. The first one is today is very I think very similar to about 30 years ago in Japan. Because the 30 years ago in Japan is just the beginning of the commercialization of the internet. The other time, the legacy big company cannot support the internet. And only young people know the internet. And many venture companies by students have occurred. So the situation is very similar. If we replace the term the internet into the AI, the situation is completely a similar one. But the second point is that this situation will finish for a few years, for 2 or 3 years. So this is because the legacy big company may catch up this situation for 2 or 3 years. And third one is in Japan, the many business chance of AI. There are many business chances in Japan. But the fourth point is, but basic research is very weak in Japan. And 5.1 is the number of AI specialists is very small. And the last one is old people are now still very strong. Second generation AI people. And the young people, third generation AI people are not so strong. This is a very important point in Japan. And so in this situation, what should we do? So the first one is we must establish, this is very important, a new business model for AI. I think the AI business model is different from the conventional legacy IT or ICT business model. We need a new business model for AI or IoT. So we must establish new business model. This is the first one. The second one is we need much focus on the system engineering or software engineering for AI. For example, the AI software development or AI software design, debugging, testing, proofing, such kind of system engineering technique is very important. So we need much focus on this issue. And third one is young people should do big business, big project, and big technology development. This is because when I was a university student, it's a bubble economy, and Japan is #1. So at that time, everyone tried to do big business, big project. But now the economy of Japan is degrading. So I think the thing we're talking with the young engineers and people, the world is very, very narrow, the very, very small world. So I would like to say that the young people should do one big issue, big business, big project, big technology.
Great, thank you. This question is for both panelists. It's, what sense do you have of real projects making use of technologies like AI and blockchain in production? Or how many actual production systems are out there based on these technologies, rather than just like in theory or in academia?
In my opinion, let me talk about the blockchain first. In my opinion, in fact, the blockchain, basically speaking, is just an account system, just an accounting system. It's not a very complicated technologies. So, but there haven't has too many real applications in blockchains. It's because the performance of the current blockchains is not very good. So for the blockchains, I think that the most important user area is to confirm the rights to your assets. And till now, I think the most successful applications for blockchain is Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin. And on the other hand, the AI, we still in the very beginning of the AI industry, but we already have some real wonderful applications, such as just something like that I just said, today's headline on the TikTok.
Thank you. Same question.
Yeah. But we are university, so we do not deal with real business and we do not sell product. But we have many proof of concept projects today. So in my talk, I have introduced AI for agriculture and AI for fishery. And also another project is AI for logistics. And also the biggest project is a smart city. And the smart city, the city optimization using data and AI is a very, very interesting issue. So now I am dealing with this kind of project. And also another very, very special project is data journalism. Completely different. The journalism, the AI and the data is very, very useful. So currently, for example, in the United States or UK, the data journalism is very, very popular. And journalism will use AI for generating the manuscript or text and using data. For example, in our collaboration with Nikkei newspaper company, now the people write the text for the newspaper, but the background data we will open in the GitHub website, and also the software for analyzing the data. Such kind of data journalism and AI journalism is, I think, very important, and now we are dealing with this kind of project.
Thank you. So the next question, some background for this is, so some technologies represent minor enhancements to the state of computing or technology, while others represent a complete shift in the way things are done. So thinking about technology in those terms, where do you think AI and blockchain sit along that spectrum? Are they a smaller enhancement, some enhancement, or are they a complete shift in the way things are done?
I think the AI should be can greatly improve the production power of our society. So I think in the future, maybe till now we're still in the very beginning of the AI development. But I think in the future there will be lots of the positions. The AI will replace human people to do, such as maybe the programming or something else. So that means the AI will change the way the people work. I think, yeah. On the other hand, the blockchain, in fact, I don't think blockchain is a very complicated technologies. In my opinion, blockchain is something like the production relationship it totally changed the relationship of people or organizations. For example, I think everyone are using the Facebook. So if you are using Facebook, all of your data belong to Facebook. You, for example, I have to see lots of advice or advertisement on the right of my screens. Yeah, that's because I'm using Facebook on my data. They can use my data to do anything, and also they can publish the things they want me to see. On the other hand, if we build a new Facebook based on blockchains, so at first, all of my data will belong to myself. If the Facebook want to use my data to do something, it need to pay me. In another way, if the Facebook want to put some advertisement on my screens, it also had to pay me. So in this situation, it means in blockchains, if you create a network, it won't belong to you. Yeah, all the users will manage this network by the basic consensus. I think that's the difference. The blockchains will change the organization and the business model.
Yeah, thank you.
Same question? Yeah. I think that AI and blockchain as the both technology has a very, very big, important impact for society and also technology. And for AI, I have mentioned in my talk, it can change, it can affect everything, every aspect of our life, and also even the basic methodology of the science. So AI impact is very big and very, very important. And also blockchain. I would like to introduce one example. Last year, I have attended an international meeting of Asia Open Data Partnership held in Seoul. The other time, many people from Asian country attend that meeting and have exchange information about open data activity in each country. At that meeting, some country, Thailand, or several country people say that our country have a revolution. So the government is not so stable. I think that China and Japan, the leadership is completely different, but the government is very stable, both countries very stable. But in case of, for example, ASEAN country or the country in Africa, the government is not so stable. But open data must be kept so stably. So such kind of situation, what kind of technology is useful? I think the blockchain. And ASEAN people are very, very expecting the blockchain technology for the stable data strategy in such kind of unstable society. So blockchain is very, very useful such developing country or unstable area. I think this is one point of the blockchain. And second point is blockchain is very useful for creating the infrastructure with no center. So, for example, the internet of the many functions of internet is distributed, but only one function is centralized. This is the IP address allocation and the domain name service. This is centralized. The top domain name service is centralized, and also IP address allocation, the top level is centralized. But if we apply the blockchain technology of this area, I think the internet becomes a completely distributed system with no center. United States do not have a leadership pattern. So blockchain has a very, very big impact for the organization of such kind of infrastructure.
Yeah, thank you. Just like a comment on some things both of you mentioned. There are some projects I know of relating to what you talked about. In terms of, you were saying like something like Facebook could be put on the blockchain. There's actually a company called Steemit you can look into that's doing that. It's a decentralized social network. Regarding like decentralized internet, there's actually a technology called IPFS that could be interesting to look into. It's basically decentralized and distributed data storage. And it's basically a new way to, what you call Web 3.0. So the next question, a bit of a background, is that AI and blockchain represent different ways of understanding the world. So blockchain is it's a deterministic way of looking at things. It's about permanence and about constant data, while AI is about making probabilistic statements. So they're in some ways almost opposite technologies. So that being said, how do you think AI and blockchain might come together in the future, or might there be some difficulty to bring these two different technologies together?
That's what Matrix is working on. We have already used the AI technologies to improve the performance of the blockchains. At first, we make the blockchains transfer speed faster. We can achieve more than 10,000 TPS now. That really make the blockchains can support huge users to use together. That's the first one. Second one, we use the AI to design a new contract named the intelligent contract. It can make everyone can use design their own contract. It means all the people who want to use blockchain can use the blockchain's key functions, the smart contract. So I think we can use the AI technologies to make the blockchain better. On another hand, we think also the blockchains can make the AI technologies better because as the professor Koshizuka said, the data is the most important to the AI industry. So till now, for data industry, one of the most important program is the I can't confirm the ownership of my data, because it's very easy for others to copy my data. Yeah, all the companies have with the same situations. If I share my data, everyone can copy it. Yeah, there is no cost at all. But in fact, the blockchain can solve these problems if we can use the IPFS technologies to storage to keep everyone's data. Also, the blockchains can confirm my right of my ownership of my data. If anyone who uses my data, it must be recorded on the blockchains. He had to pay benefit to me. So in that situations, I think based on the blockchains, all the people can share more and high quality data. That will make the AI technologies grow better.
Thank you.
Yeah, my opinion is almost the same as Dr. Tao. I think that the important point is the correlationship between the AI and the blockchain. So the AI for blockchain and blockchain for AI. The blockchain for AI, the blockchain is very useful as an open platform for the data for artificial AI. And AI for blockchain, I think that the AI may be useful for the implementation of blockchain or distributed ledger. So for improving the performance or getting more improvement for other issues. So AI may be very, very useful for as the implementation technology of blockchain, I think.
Thank you. So the next question is about kind of the balance between corporate and smaller company control in these technologies. So regarding blockchain, there's a lot of work being done now in private and permission blockchains. If you look at companies like JP Morgan or IBM, it seems like they're almost starting to dominate the industry. And on the AI side, companies like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, they're basically dominating AI. So on those terms, where do you think the future of AI and blockchain is heading? Is it more going to be on the kind of a corporate, private side, or will there be more larger efforts coming from smaller companies?
In my opinion, the private and the permission blockchains, they are not real blockchains. the centralized character, they are not security and real safe. So I think till now they are still not the real application for blockchains. Of course we can use the private chains. It can offer a very good performance, but it's not a real blockchain. So till now, if the public chains technologies won't get a big progress, the real blockchains application will not appear. That's what Matrix is working hard on. On the other hand, I think the AI technology, in my opinion, AI technology is not a real science. It's something. It's very advanced technologies. So in these situations, I don't think the technology is handled by it's held by only by the big company. Is a good option. I think AI is something like the biologies. Our people, we are born from thousands, millions of kinds of the animals. We have the fish, we have the birds, we have the animals. We have evolutions from them. We born the human, the top of the nature. So I think the AI development has missed the same situations. I think the various kind of the AI training, we have more models. I think we will get more better AI technologies. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Yes. I think the problem, we have two problems, and these two problems we should deal with differently. The first one is technology. I think that technologies are very global and open. So the new technology, that everyone can catch up soon. But the important problem is the patent. But in case of the information technology or AI, I think patent is not so strong compared with the other field. Because in case of the ITC, if we would like to realize an issue, we have several methodologies in case of ITC. So I think patent is not so strong in ITC. So I think that technology is global and open. So technology would become more open and would become more democratized, I think. But the still problem is the data. So the monopolization of data is a very, very serious problem. So the technology is open and global, but data is not so global, or data is not so open. So how to manage data or the governance of data is very important for AI and also blockchain, I think.
Thank you. So next question is, who do you think is making the greatest advancements in AI and blockchain, and what are they doing? It can be a person, a group, a company, a university, or anyone else.
In AI industry, I think the most should be Google, because the AlphaGo brain makes everyone knows AI, and it attracted all the capital's eyes. So I think because Google, the AI get a big progress in recent. In blockchain industry, I think there should be the very beginning is the Bitcoin, the Satoshi who he created the blockchain technologies, and then the Ethereum should be the second one. It really make the blockchains can be used to build applications on the blockchains. And the third one we hope is Matrix. We really want to build a faster, high performance and security blockchains. It really can build applications can serve for anyone with the blockchains. That's our vision.
Thank you.
I think Google is the biggest and the most global company. I would like to introduce the smallest one. Do you know that in case of AI, do you know the Mr. Koike? Who you know? Mr. Koike is a farmer in Japan, but he was working at Hitachi Corporation previously as an IT engineer, and he is now working as a farmer in his home. And Mr. Koike analyzed their farming work and find that cost is the fruit classification, classify the fruits. This is very, very costly work. So he wants to automate this process. So he ordered some big company. But such company proposed about $1 million for the system, the fruit classification. So it is impossible for Mr. Koike. So he has developed his own system about $100 using AI. So this is the good example for the democratization of AI. So anyone can develop AI system using the good platforms, very, very low cost. So if you are interested in the Mr. Koike, if you search in the YouTube, you can find a video of Mr. Koike that has AI use the automatic classification system. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think personally, some of the most influential people in AI and blockchain are just anyone who wants to use the technology. So there's not that many people using blockchain, but I think it's really up to the individuals who go out and try to find benefits, try to find some use cases for using it. It's the individuals who bring it to mass adoption. So the next question is for both of you. What has helped you get to your influential positions in industry and in academia, and what advice would you have for others who want to set off in a similar direction?
I'm lucky. I have a very good team. We have scientists who can research the most advanced technologies. Also, we have the best engineers. They can make the technologies into the real applications. My job is only to design the ecosystems and to make it really running. So that which brings the matrix here now. And I think if anyone who want to do something in the blockchain industry, I think the most important things you need to find is the real problems which need to be solved. So, for example, the matrix want to solve the slow transactions, hard to use, also the wasteful of the resource and the computing power. That's why we created matrix. So whatever if we want to start a new program, I think at the very beginning we need to do lots of the research and the thinking and discussing what problems we want to solve. It should be the real problem, not we shouldn't to create requirement. We should need to solve the real problems. I think that's the most important.
Yeah, I think if the 20 or 30 years after, I think every technology will change. So I think that one recommendation or one advice is study basics. The basic study is very, very important. And also the second point is connect the basics and real business. And the connection of basics and real business is I think very important. And the last point is do not follow old people.
Thank you. So this is going to be the final question, which is, it's going to be, what are common misconceptions people have about the blockchain and AI space, and how do you think we can combat these misconceptions and communicate the technologies more effectively?
Lots of my friends about the AI, the most usually they ask me, they usually think that the AI can do everything. Can do everything. But in fact, we are still at the very beginning stage of the AI technologies. We can use a very simple case to prove that. For example, we have used the Apple cell phone. I think that everyone should know the Siri is based on the artificial intelligence technologies. And also, the Siri is very useful now. You just need to ask Siri, for example, I want to eat the Japanese food tonight. Then I can ask the Siri, please recommend me the best Japanese food. She will give me a list, and the top restaurants, they must be the Japanese food. We can ask Siri another question. I want to have some food tonight, not Japanese food. She still recommend your list, and the top is they are also the Japanese food. So till now, the AI technologies, it can do lots of things, but it still can't do lots of things. Yeah, I think that is the biggest misunderstanding about the AI technologies. Another way for the blockchains, I don't know the most misunderstanding for people about blockchains, because I think the most of people they nearly don't know what is blockchains. Blockchain, in fact, is not a very complicated technologies, but is not very easy to understand. Because it's different with our real world. For example, we in our real world we create. For example, I'm Facebook. I build the Facebook platform. So the Facebook platform should belong me. But if for Matrix, we build a public chain platform. This platform doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to our team. It belongs to all the users. Yeah. So I think if you really want to understand what blockchain is, you need to use lots of the platform. You need to join the community and to discuss with others and use the functions of it, and you will have more understanding about it.
Yeah, the topic is common misconception. The misconception that I like to raise one common misconception of AI. This is a singularity, I think. Many people are expecting, or many people are afraid of the singularity. But I believe that the singularity did not occur. This is because this concept comes from everyone expects that the computer will be much faster from now, faster and faster and faster. So singularity occurs. But I think that the CPU power enhancement is already stopped or slowed down now. So, and another way is quantum computing, but the quantum computing application is so limited. So computer the performance enhancement is already slowed down. So the technology for the performance enhancement technology, the parallelism or parallel processing or distributed processing is very, very important. So the CPU power enhancement is stopped. So singularity did not occur. So we should not expect singularity.
Thank you. I think that's all for the panel.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists. I'd like to open up the floor for questions from the audience, though, to any of our speakers. So if you have a question, as before, we have about 10 minutes. So please raise your hand if you have anything. That's okay. I would like to go to this gentleman back first, and then to this lady.
Thank you for your great presentation. I have a question related to social issue and AI. So there has been social debates about AI stealing jobs. One of them came from one of this American presidential candidate for 2020. So he said that, okay, if we have smart car that can drive themselves, for example, we don't need any truck drivers anymore, and then people will line up on the street and we will create a mess, something like that. So what do you think about this kind of idea that AI can potentially steal jobs? And I believe that because you all here are AI experts, so you don't quite agree with this idea. So is there any idea or rule of thumb that you have in mind that actually people and AI can coexist together in the future?
Yeah, I think that many people say that AI may steal our job, some kind of job, but I don't think so. Another point of view is AI can enhance our job. For example, in the convenience store in Japan,
Cash register.
Yes, such kind of working people we can replace with AI, but the AI will steal such kind of job. But the Amazon Go vision is completely different. The Amazon Go vision is such kind of worker can become the advisor of sales. So the job is only the very simple work, choose the more advanced work. So for AI is very useful for such kind of the advancement of the work. So the viewpoint is very important. So one may think that. And another one is we have many jobs we really do not want to do. For example, in many companies, the structure of the company, such kind of work with AI is the best, I think. And some kind of job which is related to the privacy. For example, in the これもよくわかんないな、福祉っていうことになってるんだろう。
Social welfare.
じゃあ福祉ね。For example, my old mother is almost disabled people and cannot take in the bath by herself. As a kind of someone may help to put in the bath, but my old mother said that in the human, she do not like the support by human because very shameful to show her body. So in such case, a machine or AI is the best for such kind of work. So some job is very good for AI. So the job enhancement was the very good job work for AI. So not only stealing.
Yeah, I think I can just add a little bit on top of that. I agree with everything you said. I also think AI will get rid of plenty of jobs in even right now, but also in the mid to long term. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because it's not going to get rid of, at least in the short term, it's not going to get rid of creative, human-centered work. It's not going to get rid of artists, creative jobs. It's not going to get rid of positions where you have to interact with human emotions and human psychology. It's going to get rid of kind of the menial labor that no one really wants to do, and it'll open up more tasks for kind of human creativity. So I don't think it's a bad thing. 1,000 years ago, most people were either working as a farmer, a priest, or a soldier. Now that's a tiny fraction of people. I don't think that's a bad thing. I hope that maybe 100 years from now there will be very few people, if any, doing the menial, boring tasks. So I think it's a good thing if AI helps kind of get those jobs done so that people can do things that are more interesting.
Okay, on to our next question, please.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for this very thoughtful, thought-provoking afternoon it turns out to be. And I just wanted to add one comment. Blockchain, I'm just learning all these new things, which is very exciting. I think education also is another industry that may have some potential connection with blockchain. As far as I'm reading things in US journals and things like that. So I think there's a potential there in the field of education. My question is sort of big picture question, but just in a nutshell, how do you see AI and or blockchain may help people or humans think creatively outside the box instead of going along the line, like going along with the status quo, perpetuating what's been done already, just opening up new possibilities. How can or may AI and or blockchain help humans do that, achieve that? Thank you. Does the question make sense?
Thank you. In fact, in my opinion, because in the I just said we just want to use the blockchains to build a new AI platform, right? Based on this platform, we had, I think in the future there will be lots of the possibilities. The first is we want to build a new organizations. It has no national, has no races or something else. We just to make everyone is equally to on this platform. They can share their data. They can share their computing power. They also can share their ideas to how to build better models. In the future, I think the blockchains and the AI work together the most. I think in the future, there's one thing we want to do is we create a word, we named it digital assets. So till now, why we call that? Because till now we have lots of the. At first we had lots of the data, right? But we still don't realize our data is very precious wheels. Yeah, we just think they are data. So because maybe the Facebook use my data, I don't carry it. Maybe the Twitter use my data, I don't carry it. But in fact, they should be the assets of mine. Yeah. So if we have the blockchains in the future, at the very beginning, the first things we want to confirm the right of all your data to be your own assets. And in another way, we still just another things we want to is that we want to transfer the traditional assets into the digital assets. For example, long ago, the gold is one of the important asset, but it's hard for people to trade, right? So I pay your money, you give me some gold, but after that the stock market started to that way, the people make the gold into a security. That's easy for all the people who want to buy gold, or make people who want to buy or sell gold very easily to do that. That's greatly increased the circulation of the gold. So in the future, we also want to use the blockchain technologies to make all the traditional assets into the digital ones. That I think in the future that will greatly improve the influence of the social, and also can make all the traditional assets more, more worthy. That's what we want to do, and I think in the future the blockchains and the AI technologies can bring it to us.
The AI, the creativity. I think I have the two answers. The first answer is the AI will be a good competitor in the creativity field.
And the second one is this is more practical and more important. The AI will become a good teacher of the creative works. But I think the human teacher is much better. But the number of the good teacher of human is the number is very small. AI, we can generate the million of good teachers. So for the creativity training the creativity, AI will become a good teacher. So my colleague, some professor, now they're researching about AI trainer research for the instrument or sports. So I think AI is very, very useful, very good for good teacher, for supporting the creative work.
Thank you. So I'll have to make this the last question. I'm very sorry for any other people who have questions. There will be a networking session following the event. So please make use of that time if you'd like to ask any further questions. So moving on to the last question.
I have two questions. One is that if Facebook says that they collect the data from the users and give the information to the Social Science Research Council, then I feel that that is a contradicting that I learned in the graduate school of social science, because if they want to do the research using human beings, they have to follow the guideline of the human subject research. Then they have to get the consent from the data providers. But Facebook is saying that they can use the user's data as much as they can, or maybe other big companies. So how can we deal with that contradiction that I or many people learned from the graduate school of social science or psychology level? And the second question is that, do you have a tendency to categorize people based on the level of technology? So if you use the advanced latest technology, you consider that they are much higher ranked compared to the people who use only Microsoft Word, that's it. Because he's a writer and he wants to write whatever they want to write as much as possible without using any sort of AI or blockchains, whatever that is. So that is what I want to ask. Do you consider the people who use the most latest technology higher ranked people compared to the writer who wants to use only Microsoft Word?
So for the first question regarding Facebook and other companies using user data, I definitely think that is obviously like extremely unethical and shouldn't be allowed. So Facebook actually had tens of billions of dollars of fines for the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal, but that wasn't actually a lot for Facebook. They still made huge profits in the last few years since the scandal. So I don't think it was enough, but I think like fines and government penalties are one step against that. I also think broader regulations for data protection are a good step, like GDPR. So GDPR basically says if you abuse the data rights of someone living in the European Union, you can have a fine of up to 3% of your annual turnover. So having regulations and steep fines like that in place, I think could be a good protection against that. For the second question about, could you repeat the second gist of the second question?
So some writer chooses not using only Microsoft Word, just write.
Right.
Without using AI. So do you consider those people less?
Definitely not. So I think technology is always just a means to an end. So there's no point in using any technology unless there's clear benefits to it. Like personally, a lot of my background was in data science, and this happens a lot in like the STEM field and in data science in particular, where some data scientists say like you should really use technologies like Python for all your data science, but in reality, Microsoft Excel is like a lot faster for some of your needs. As a data scientist, you could have a PhD and even Excel can be a good tool for you to use. So it doesn't matter what technology you use because it's just a means to an end.